Hello friends, welcome to Interactive Audiobook. Today, I want you to think about a situation that almost everyone experiences at some point in life. You know exactly what you should do. You know you should start exercising. You know you should make that important phone call. You know you should begin that project that could change your future. Everything is planned. You even created a to-do list. But somehow, you do nothing. You sit there and feel as if an invisible wall stands between you and your goal. You call yourself lazy. You say, maybe I'm just unmotivated. Maybe something is wrong with me. The desire to move forward is real. You genuinely want to take action. But something inside stops you. It feels like a strange mental paralysis. If this feeling sounds familiar, then here is an important question. What if this is not your fault? What if you are not lazy at all? What if there is a deeper science behind why you feel stuck? And what if by understanding that science, you can finally break that invisible wall? Today, we will explore this powerful idea through insights inspired by the book The Science of Stuck by psychotherapist Britt Frank. This journey will reveal why people feel stuck, and more importantly, how they can become unstuck. So, take a deep breath and prepare to upgrade the way you understand motivation and human behavior. You are listening to Interactive Audiobook, where powerful ideas transform the way we see ourselves. Now, let us begin with the first lesson, the deeper diagnosis. In our society, when someone cannot take action, we often label them lazy or unmotivated. But Britt Frank challenges this belief completely. She explains that laziness is rarely the real issue. What we call laziness is often the brain's survival response. To understand this, we must first understand how the human brain works. The brain was not designed primarily to make us happy. It was designed to keep us alive. Its number one job is to detect danger and protect us from it. Now, danger can be real, like a speeding car on the road. But danger can also be perceived. For example, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, or the discomfort of doing something new. When the brain senses danger, it activates the survival system. Many people know about the fight or flight response. But there is a third response that is less discussed, yet extremely powerful. This response is called freeze. The freeze response happens when the brain believes fighting or escaping will not work. So, the system shuts down. It conserves energy and waits for the danger to pass. In modern life, this freeze response often appears as procrastination. When you sit in front of your work but cannot begin. When you scroll social media instead of doing something important. When you feel mentally blocked even though you know exactly what to do. This is not laziness. This is your nervous system trying to protect you. Britt Frank explains that feeling stuck is not a character flaw. It is a physiological state. It happens when the gas pedal and brake pedal of your nervous system are pressed at the same time. One part of you wants to move forward. That is the gas pedal. Another part of your brain senses danger and presses the brake. The result is frustration, exhaustion, and confusion. The most revolutionary idea in this concept is that many mental health symptoms are not the real problem. They are signals. Anxiety, depression, and procrastination are like the check engine lights on a car dashboard. They are messages telling us that something deeper needs attention. And often, that deeper issue is connected to unresolved emotional experiences, sometimes called trauma. But trauma does not always mean something dramatic like a major accident. Trauma can be any experience that overwhelmed our nervous system, especially when it happened too fast, too soon, or too intensely. It could be repeated criticism during childhood. It could be being ignored or rejected during important moments. These experiences may seem small, but the nervous system remembers them. Let us imagine an example. There is a young designer named Ria. She is talented, creative, and dreams of starting her own freelance business. She knows exactly what she must do. She needs to send emails to potential clients. She needs to show her work to the world. She has the skills, the plan, and the opportunity. But every morning when she opens her laptop, she freezes. Instead of writing emails, she starts scrolling social media. She organizes random tasks around the house. She calls herself lazy and feels ashamed. But through the lens of the science of stuck, something else becomes visible. Maybe in her childhood, whenever Ria showed her work, teachers criticized her harshly. Maybe her efforts were never appreciated. Maybe she learned that showing her work could lead to rejection. Now, when she thinks about sending her designs to clients, her brain remembers that emotional danger. The nervous system reacts with the freeze response. Procrastination becomes a form of protection. Her brain is trying to shield her from the pain of rejection. This realization changes everything. The problem is not laziness. The problem is a nervous system that believes it is protecting us. Now, this leads to the second lesson, the foundational mindset shift. Once we understand that stuckness is biological rather than personal, the next step is changing how we treat ourselves. When people feel stuck, their first reaction is usually self-criticism. They say, "Why am I like this? What is wrong with me? I am useless." But self-criticism makes the nervous system feel even more threatened. When the brain senses more threat, the freeze response becomes stronger. This creates a vicious cycle. The science of stuck introduces a powerful alternative, self-compassion combined with self-knowledge without shame. This means observing your behavior with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of asking, "Why am I so lazy?" ask, "What function might this behavior be serving?" Every behavior, even unhealthy ones, usually provides some hidden reward. Perhaps procrastination protects you from failure. Perhaps constant scrolling distracts you from loneliness. When we understand these hidden rewards, we stop attacking ourselves and start understanding ourselves. Another powerful mindset shift involves the difference between readiness and willingness. Many people wait until they feel ready before taking action. But readiness is a feeling, and feelings constantly change. Willingness, on the other hand, is a choice. You may not feel ready to take a big step, but you can still be willing to take a very small step. This distinction transforms progress. Let us return to Ria earlier. When she avoided sending emails, she criticized herself, which increased anxiety. Now, with the new mindset, she pauses and observes. She tells herself, "My brain is trying to protect me. There must be a reason for this feeling." Then, instead of asking why, she asks, "What am I willing to do right now?" Maybe she is not ready to send 10 emails, but she might be willing to open one client website. She might be willing to write just the subject line of an email. She searches for a tiny action, so small that the brain does not interpret it as danger. When anxiety appears, she treats it like a message rather than an enemy. She notices the tightness in her chest, the nervous energy in her stomach. She takes slow breaths and acknowledges the feeling. Anxiety becomes information instead of a barrier. Now we reach lesson 3, the actionable blueprint. Once the mindset shifts, real change begins through practical strategies that work with the nervous system rather than against it. The first strategy is called the micro-yes strategy. This technique breaks large, intimidating goals into extremely small steps, so small that they feel almost silly. These tiny steps are called micro-yes because they are so easy that saying yes to them feels effortless. Big goals often activate the brain's threat detection system, but micro steps slip under that radar. They signal safety to the brain and gradually build momentum. For example, if your goal is daily exercise, the micro-yes might not be going to the gym. The micro-yes might simply be placing your workout shoes near the door, or wearing workout clothes for 1 minute. When that tiny action is completed, the brain experiences success. This builds confidence and reduces resistance. The second strategy is the bottom-up approach. Many people try to think their way out of being stuck. They attempt logic, planning, and analysis. But when the nervous system is in survival mode, logical thinking becomes limited. Instead, we must first calm the body. When the body feels safe, the thinking brain returns online. One simple practice is the 5 senses exercise. Look around and name 5 things you can see. Touch 4 objects around you. Listen for 3 different sounds. Notice 2 smells and 1 taste. This technique brings attention back to the present moment and signals safety to the nervous system. Other helpful actions include slow breathing, gentle stretching, walking, or splashing cold water on the face. These small physical actions regulate the body, which then allows the mind to function clearly. The third technique is parts integration. This approach recognizes that our personality is not a single voice inside our mind. We have multiple internal parts. For example, there might be an inner critic part, a procrastinator part, a fearful part, and also a compassionate, wise self. Feeling stuck often happens when these parts are in conflict. The procrastinator part might be trying to protect you from failure, while another part wants success. Instead of fighting these parts, we can communicate with them. When you notice self-sabotaging behavior, pause and imagine the part responsible. Ask it gently, "What are you trying to protect me from?" Then thank it for trying to help. This simple internal dialogue reduces resistance and allows your wiser self to guide the situation. Now finally we arrive at lesson 4, avoiding the traps. One common trap is believing that understanding the problem equals solving the problem. Many people watch self-improvement videos, read books, and analyze their past. They believe insight alone will change everything. But insight is not action. Knowing why a fire started does not extinguish the fire. Action is still required. Another trap is perfectionism. Perfectionism whispers, either do it perfectly or do not do it at all. If you cannot exercise for 1 hour, it says there is no point in exercising at all. This thinking prevents progress. The solution is adopting the mindset, something is better than nothing. 1 minute of action is infinitely more powerful than 0 minutes. A third trap is treating feelings as facts. People often say, "I do not feel motivated, so I will not act." But motivation usually appears after action, not before it. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Finally, there is a misunderstanding about boundaries. Many people believe boundaries are about controlling others, but healthy boundaries are about controlling your own response. Instead of telling someone you must stop shouting, a stronger boundary is if shouting continues, I will leave the room. This shifts power back to your own choices. And now we reach the conclusion of today's journey. The science of stuck teaches us something deeply liberating. Feeling stuck is not a personal failure. It is a biological response driven by the nervous system. The path forward begins with self-compassion, not self-blame. Instead of waiting for motivation, we create momentum through micro-actions. Small steps calm the brain, build confidence, and gradually break the freeze response. So, the next time you feel stuck, do not attack yourself. Pause, breathe, and ask one powerful question. What is my micro yes right now? Because sometimes the smallest step is the one that begins the biggest transformation. And this is the true science of moving from stuck to growth. Thank you for listening to Interactive Audiobook, where every idea is a step toward a wiser, stronger mind.